Yeah, sit. I'll start. We have two mics. Hello, mic check. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the panel Game Plan for Growth. We will be touching upon government's involvement in esports, collegiate ecosystem in esports, a bit on the publisher side, and also the future plan and the future outlook for esports in general within India. So, before we start, I'd like to have a quick round of introduction, just 10 seconds for each people. So, Rohit, we can start with you. You can take that mic.
Hi, I'm Rohit Jagasia. I'm the founder of Revenant Esports, Revenant X Park. We are one of India's largest esports team, and we represent a bunch of talent like Kashvi, Scout, One Church, to name a few.
Hi, this is Shiva. I'm the founder and CEO of Skyesports. So we are building this esports ecosystem from 2019. Before that, I was into game development. I was building games. Right now, we are focusing building esports ecosystem in India.
Hi, I'm Trupti. I'm like a co-founder for Geo Games, and I work towards the growth of Geo Games.
Hi everyone, I'm Gourab. I lead gaming and innovations for WPP Media, specifically for Hindustan Unilever as a client. And yeah, that's me.
And I'm Wasif. I head public relations for Skyesports. I work with Shiva. So we'll start off with government involvement in esports. So Shiva, I'll have the question for you. So obviously, it ruffles a few feathers when we see too much government involvement in any industry. But I'd like to understand from your perspective, because you work with the government so closely, why is government involvement in esports beneficial to different stakeholders?
See, the government involvement is most important, particularly in India. It will show the legitimacy of the esports, right? If you want to attract millions of students or like people who wants to play esports, the first parents has to understand and accept. So for like we are creating an ecosystem where players will come and participate the tournament. Apart from the prize money, there is no aspiration, there is no value on that. So when government really recognize and legitimate sports, then automatically as a parent we will support the student, I mean our children to participate in the tournament. That is one important thing. Second thing, if you see even like right now, a lot of visa issues going right now. So people, if we are not getting legitimate from the government, even you can't get visa to participate in the different countries. So it is coming under sports. So if you want to really build sports, definitely the government support and involvement is mandate.
And I'd like a follow-up question on that. You mentioned sports for esports, right? So sports is a state list subject. So how do you differentiate between this? Are state governments required to kind of understand esports, or do we need to have like a national level esports framework?
I think at Sky Sports, like we are trying hard to build the government relationship to build the esports. Right from 2022, we are keep knocking the door with the government, particularly Tamil Nadu government. I invited Mr. Honorable TRB Raja sir to our Sky Sports Champion Series for Valorant. That time he came and I've seen the production, broadcasting involving for, he understand how important it is. And then we approached other dignitaries like how to build the policies around esports. And luckily, like if you see 2 weeks, 3 weeks back, central government also published the policy and they passed the online bill also, and they legitimate esports as a sports, right? And the most important factor is like when the government really involves, it will automatically increase the number of users, number of participation to the tournament, to the participation, any publisher support also it will need it.
So Rohit, Trupti, I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well. So Rohit, we'll start with you. Obviously, when government gets involved in esports, like Shiva mentioned, school students and parents understanding about it, how will that credibility help in generating new esports athletes, which orgs like yourself can leverage?
No, I mean, most of the athletes that really are a part of, our organization, they always, fear of, losing out their jobs, or they've had like a whole backstory that, there's no support from their parents because obviously, esports is not, like Shiva said, it's not like it's not recognized by the government. So I think with the government coming in, especially with CEGC happening now, where we see like a direct involvement with the Tamil Nadu government for this whole tournament, I think it just makes it more investable, not only for parents to get their children to participate in esports, but also for like different brands, stakeholders. With CEGC, we've also seen like two other non-endemic brands coming in, like Mahindra and Boost. So I think, it not only really helps these players say that we are playing a sport which is supported by the government, but it also it gives a lot of more options for brands to actually come and probably invest in esports at large.
So, will brands be more likely to invest into an ecosystem where there's government credibility?
I think so. I think anyway there were brands they were investing in esports just because of the just because of the audience that teams and TOs had. Like it really attracts the Gen Zs right now. But I think with government credibility, I'm sure there'll be more non-endemic brands, because we used to see a lot of endemic brands before who were happy to invest in esports. We've been partnered with AMD since day zero. We have a naming right deal with IQ. We've not seen such stuff in in esports before. Like I never thought that a brand would want to call my team IQ Revenant X Park. So we saw that, and I think it's only going to get better and bigger with the fact that the government is supportive. But I think the support should not just stop at investing in tournaments, but like Shiva was saying, the visa issues and everything. The fact that players are going to represent their country globally, I think there should be some sort of support from a compliance point of view also, to help athletes and organizations, get visas for these global tournaments. So I think, yeah, definitely.
Trupti, anything to add on that? The infrastructure part, where can the government support that?
Yeah, I think government has more or less been an observer so far. They have been observing how online gaming is panning out. They themselves, I think the lines are blurred on online gaming. So they do pass amends depending on different aspects of the scenarios which are going through right now. But I think when the government, of course, with the Global Esports Championship, which is starting from tomorrow, it clearly shows when a government actually leads these kind of, sporting events. That is when the game changing starts, right? The clear policies, if it is set, not just one state, but throughout the country, the infrastructure starts to develop accordingly. And infrastructure becomes like a platform, like as simple as giving venues, right? In each states or in each metro cities, for example, if there is a fixed venue saying that, okay, fine, as a government, I'm providing this XYZ infrastructure for all the esports tournaments, then it becomes easier for a lot of tournament organizers and a lot of brands and different aspects. It just all starts flowing in. As long as government has that clear policy set and bifurcates between esports and online gaming, and I think things will start moving much faster when compared to earlier, I can say.
Before I get to you, Gourab, Shiva, can you touch on that? How important would this infrastructure support from government in terms of the stadium and everything is important to hosting a tournament, and where it eases your gaps?
200%. See, because before government support, for example, I'll give one case study. So when we do events in Bangalore, there is a stadium called Koramangala Indoor Stadium. For that, if I consider esports as a sports, that cost is only 50,000 rupees per day, because it will come under the sports. But till now, before this online bill and everything, esports come under this entertainment factor. So eventually we end up with paying 6 lakh rupees per day to host an event. So imagine if I'm doing in 10 days even, I have to spend 60 lakhs. But if the government acknowledging legitimate esports right now, which has happened, my cost is only 2 lakh rupees plus before executing the event, we need to get the approval from police, traffic, everything we have to do. But when the government is really supporting, these are the parts they will take care of that. So infrastructure wise, yes, it will help a lot, and it will help, it will make easy for a tournament organizers as to execute, focus on the quality of the production rather than what's happening around the venue.
Yeah, so before I go into collegiate, and I'll start with you on Gaurav, I just wanted to quickly understand from you, Rohit. Obviously, prize pools form a big revenue factor for many esports orgs in India. And in that, taxation is a big issue. I mean, you lose a lot of percentage of the total prize money. I think it's 31.2% to taxation. So, government policy on that, how helpful would that be for esports orgs like yourself, and how important it is?
So, I mean, if you asked me this question 2 years back, it would have been, it was a very critical sort of a factor for us, to make money on the prize pools. But what we've realized right now is, since we want our team to be hyper performance focused teams, we as an organization, I think the first organization in India where we've like been that we don't want a prize pool share from whatever the players play. Obviously, like, I mean, the payment is obviously made into our account. There is a tax. I mean, there is a tax deduction, but we don't keep a bottom line when it comes to prize pool, because I think we've seen like a very large growth in sponsorships, like the naming right deal that I was speaking about. So since we absorb all of that when it comes to our team revenue, uh, that makes like that drives a significant chunk of our operational costs. So price pools, very honestly, never really made sense for us after we got into this whole sponsorship model, because even when we were doing price pools, even if it was, 70, 30, 70% going to the team, 30% staying back with us, it didn't really make a lot of sense anyway. So as an organization, it doesn't really matter to us. And I think for the players with the 30% deduction, I think while they're paying their taxes, because most of the esports players in India, they make a lot of money. So they anyway get like that deduction in TDS. So they pay less tax. So
You
I
have to
think,
pay income tax on top of that as well, right?
yeah, but I mean, the fact that your TDS is deducted, you adjust it basis the tax that you have to pay. So price pool's not really been a factor for us, and I think it shouldn't be for the players as well. I mean, if if it is something that we have to comply with the government, we're happy to.
So Gaurav, sorry to keep you waiting. We'll move on to the collegiate ecosystem. How the collegiate place, like when you look at the West, it's very monetized through sports. I think sports collegiate ecosystems in India, they're very lacking. And esports is something which many brands, I would not say, many TOs are trying to break into collegiate ecosystems. We have college rivals and all of those IPs coming up. So what makes a collegiate ecosystem viable for a brand?
See, esports as a entire ecosystem is very top brass heavy, right? We have been seeing a lot of the big events, all the top teams playing. But what actually would matter going ahead is creating that grassroots ecosystem, right? Right from the bottom, where you scout players, you train them up, and you give them a sense of being an athlete, right? And that's where brands who look into this TG of culture, of fandom, of sportsmanship, right? They would be very interested to get into, right? This is the first foray as Unilever into the world of esports, Unilever India, right? With Boost Protein coming on board for CEGC. The idea is, get the people interested into this ecosystem and then train them up to be better professionals. What I really feel good about is that a lot of organizations like Skyesports, College Rivals, and many others, right? They're trying to activate that ecosystem, even though there's not a lot of brand interest in it, because it doesn't meet the media metrics, right? It doesn't give you that kind of ROI that a influencer might give you. But it's the process, gradual process that will take place over the next 5 years or so that will grow this ecosystem bigger. That's what I believe.
Trupti, Shiva, I'd like to hear from you on this. Is there a place where we can build a viable long-term collegiate esports tournament or a series?
Yeah, I think if you look at the current esports, call it pyramid or something. It's like a skyscraper, where there are pro players and where there is a huge mass of, audience who have the potential, but until and unless you try it, you will not know that you're good at it. And when we are doing this Valorant Campus Cup in colleges right now as Geo, and we do see that we are able to get a lot of casters, analysts, and we are able to come across creators as well who are doing great along with the players. So when we actually look at the grassroots level development, it is like pretty much important to ensure that the whole ecosystem is built, and not just a player but everybody supporting as well are there. So the environment is getting built due to these grassroots, and without which I don't think in future you can see that kind of culture which is there in different countries. Like I had been to Japan and I literally saw that gaming culture being there. It's not like a game or a sport to them, it's like a culture to them. And that can happen only when the ecosystem supports it, and not just, a pro player or an influencer or just one person here or there. It's like those, the snooker parlors when they started earlier, they were there in each and every road. Not necessarily I knew how to play it, but I definitely wanted to go try. And it was more like a hangout place. You just go there, play, compete and just get back. So I think for esports to have that, that is, colleges are where the talent is right now. They're experimenting. Teams come together, they fight next day, they break it. And then again they come back. But that's how they learn and that's how things are built. And this has been my point of view on the grassroots level esports tournaments.
Shiva, to expand on that, how important are colleges as part of the overall grassroots level ecosystem? Should it be differentiated or should it be part of the same strategy for TOs and publishers as well?
Definitely not. So collegiate activation should not be seen as a separate activation of esports. It has to be a part and parcel of whole grassroots growth. If you see cricket, without Ranji Trophy, we can't see any important players. What you are seeing in IPL or like Indian team. So how for cricket, how Ranji Trophy is important. Similar to that for esports, collegiate activation is important. We should not see separately, because if you see right now in BGMI or like Valorant or CS, only the very few teams, like say like 100 teams or 50 teams only playing repeatedly. But when you actually building the grassroots where it starts from school actually and then college and then they are becoming the pro players. So right now we can't go to schools because of the lot of things happening around, but right now the government is clear. Now for me, more than college, we have to go with the school level and then college level and then the tier 1 level. So we are actually focusing on that. And after I become a treasurer of CI IDGS, so we, along with the ICT Academy, we partnered with 3,000 colleges across India. And even we recently done an event called Gaming Tiruvilla, which is gaming festival in Chennai, in the same venue. And we got surprised, we got 17,000 people, and in the 17,000 people, almost like 12,000 people are from different parts of colleges. And they are not just coming to play the tournament, they are first and coming and see the technology. They are seeing an AMD processor, they are playing with the AMD processor, they are seeing the monitor, and they are seeing the AI and gaming, the showcased by the indie game developers. So they are actually come and see first hand what began, because what college students are, what we are going and teaching college students, gaming is not a casual, it is a career, it is the future, it is not just a entertainment. So we are educating them what is behind, what is the science behind game development, what is behind, what you are just playing BGMI or Valorant just for fun, but it's not that. They have to fundamentally understand what's behind it. That's how we are going to colleges, we are bringing them to our events to watch, to participate, and then they actually professionally start to play. When they start officially, professionally start to play, officially, they will eventually become the tier 1 player. And team like Revenant or any team will get the new talents, right? They don't depend on the players who are playing for 3 years, 4 years. So bottom line is, it is not separate. It has to be part and parcel of the ecosystem.
Yes, Rohit, as Shiva has concluded with talent, how important is is grassroots level ecosystems like collegiate level tournaments to talent identification? And how do you currently do that? And how do you think the ecosystem can support it in the future to help you do that better?
So, I mean, at the moment, for everything that we're doing with grassroots, we've partnered up with Trident. They've built like this whole platform where a lot of players are nurtured. Obviously, these are all college-going students, and I think the good part about this is, it doesn't happen. It doesn't need to necessarily happen in a college. It is happening virtually. They've also built players who are going to PMGC this year. So we've been doing our grassroots level stuff with Trident at the moment. But apart from that, I think grassroots esports is one thing, but I think doing college activations for even publishers or brands, gaming brands specifically, I think that also makes a lot of sense. We've done a couple of creator activations at colleges, and it does spread like a very strong message about gaming esports, and I think the fact that non-endemic brands are also contributing to this. But yeah, at Revenant, I mean, right now, I think most of the players that we actually pick up are people who are performing in different teams, and the grassroots level is all outsourced to Trident, and it's not only us. I think a lot of organizations are doing it right now.
So the Trident model, where well, essentially what Trident does is they host tournaments on Discord, I believe, across different games. So would you say in terms of talent identification, that is better than doing like a nationwide college level thing?
Yeah, I think, I mean, there you're playing in a proper competitive lobby. They've started a e-athlete identification number, like a Aadhaar card for gamers, because there are problems. People come up with mods, and people are hacking. So they have found a solution within their ecosystem to prevent hacking and stuff like that. So at least we have that peace of mind as a team. Just because of our fans really get toxic sometimes, that we've picked up a player and he turns out to be a hacker. It's not happened with us, but it happened with a couple of other organizations. But at least we have that peace of mind that if we are picking someone up from Trident, all of that is going to be clear, and if anything goes wrong, we can obviously always track the player down.
So the next step in the collegiate ecosystem is talent for hiring within the industry. So I'd like to hear from each of you on that. Is there a gap in the talent you hire? Is external talent you hire which is not within the industry itself? Do you need to educate and train them a lot? And how can college level programs kind of bridge that gap in terms of the talent that you have in your own organizations? Rohit?
So I think, yeah, I mean, it becomes very difficult sometimes. Just for example, you hire someone who's doing sales for you, but he cannot sell the property team or the IP that you've built just because of the lack of knowledge when it comes to gaming, or maybe like no knowledge when it comes to gaming. So I think most of the talent that we have like a good split between 80% of the talent that we've hired as our support staff are a part of the gaming and esports industry. The 20 that we've hired are, who have at least some affinity towards gaming, but they still don't understand what esports is. So education is very important, and I think if there was a probably like not a subject, but maybe like some sort of educational training that happened in colleges and schools, where esports was spoken about, or people or teachers really taught what esports was through industry experts. I think everyone from the industry are happy to go and do sessions. Shiva's done so many sessions before CEGC. So I think all of that does, matter a lot. And I think eventually in the future, the fact that BGMI right now is the second largest viewed sport in the country after cricket, I think there will be people now after that when we hire who would have some know-how of this entire industry. But yeah, currently the senior people who we would love to work with, they have zero to no knowledge about esports, and I think that requires meticulous training and a lot of other offside efforts to actually get them to know what they sell.
Shiva, I'd like to move on to you. Obviously, you've been touring a lot of colleges recently. So what has been the core question I believe you've gotten from these students in terms of working within the industry, and how can we as an industry help them better to give them the skills required to be a part of the industry? Like Rohit said, he hires primarily from within the industry. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that as well.
See, I've been like you mentioned, at least 20 to 25 colleges I visited last 2 months because of the gaming festival and CEGC. The most important question students used to ask is opportunities, right? And like I mentioned, the students are playing for the fun and casual things, and they don't know how to convert into the jobs. So that what we went and explained them how it can be a career for them, right? So the most important part after visiting the 2025 colleges, so for the years colleges doing the same set of curriculums and the same set of degrees. Right now the interesting part is couple of colleges from Bangalore and couple of colleges from Chennai, they started to start the degree for esports and gaming. In fact, that they are starting the bachelor of computer application, and they are adding esports, gaming, and XR into the subject. And there is a separate degree for game development also. So whatever we have seen the ages now, it's changing in the educational perspective also. And Rohit mentioned, like Rohit mentioned, like if Skyesports want to hire any professionals to work in Skyesports, the passion is very important because we don't need a .NET developer, we don't need a C++ developer. We need who understand gaming. We need who can play the game, can understand the game, and communicate to the players. That is most important. And one, I mean, you know about Sai, right? So there is one employee at Skyesports. He pinged me in Instagram and he asked me, Anna, I want to join in Skyesports. I used to get a lot of DMs like that, but that particular profile, he asked me, Anna, I want to join in Skyesports. I said, please send your profile. And when I see his profile, he didn't even complete a degree, I think. And instead of that, he mentioned, I have played Valorant 5,000 hours, CS2 2,000 hours, and BGMI 5,000 hours. He mentioned that, and it impressed me as well as my hiring team also, because we need people like that. So more, I mean, education is important, but right now, who are passionate about the gaming is important. But as a professionally, education-wise, the institutions are changing. They are bringing the lot of degrees, stakeholders. Everything is changed. So.
I just met Sai today, so he's right now we're doing the CGC CS2 tournament, and he's kind of
He became the project manager, coordinator right now.
he's handling the international teams who are coming to the country from outside India. Trupti, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this as well. Obviously, you do a lot of college activations as well. What are the questions you're getting from students, and the skill gap essentially, which Rohit and Shiva have spoken about?
Yeah, we do a lot of collegiate events, but I personally don't go. The team definitely goes there, but colleges are identifying that yes, there is a lot of career opportunity and there is specific skill set required to achieve certain quality of, say, production and broadcast in an esports, and certain other skill sets for different roles which are there to, achieve a complete end-to-end esports aspects of it. In my opinion, yes, of course, the skill-based jobs which are there, like for example, the developer is a skill-based job, and even an artist is a skill-based job, as well as the production and broadcast is a skill-based job. Their education becomes very important, but and of course, even in our Geo team, we have a mix of people who not necessarily come from a gaming background. And we have, but definitely they come from a business schools. I come from a business school. And of course, I have been a gamer, so I can't call myself in that state of people, but they bring business on the table. Then they put structure to the entire proposition. They bring a different perspective to the entire approach, which formalizes and structures the unorganized sector right now in country. The same way, when it comes to, say, and sales is sales, okay? The more your communication is good and the more you're able to convince anyone, definitely you're able to achieve that job. So there are two perspectives to look at it. One is Are you going to have them operationally? Then, of course, you will require them to have the required skill set. Are you going to have them on the management side? Then, yes, I think the right skill set and talent, not necessary from gaming, is important because they can learn. And not necessarily everybody needs to be gaming to actually go pitch gaming. As long as you understand numbers and statistics, you can still go and tell that, okay, this is what numbers I can get for you. Are you interested to sponsor? And I'm sure brands do sponsor because we look at numbers at the end of the day. But yeah, as a spectator sport, a passionate gamer who's watching it will require a good quality, match going on, a good game director to be there behind the screen to do all the job. So yeah, I think if you put different teams together, different requirements will be there. That's my way of looking at talent.
Gaurav, any points to add on that? Obviously, you've, I think, scaled teams previously as well in your previous role. So the skill gap in the industry is it huge? And how can we help colleges kind of bridge that gap?
No, so just as a background, I've previously been in the sports ecosystem, right, with the likes of World Cup, IPL, and stuff, right. At that point, there was a dearth of talent behind the management scenes who did not understand the ethos of sports, but would get into it, the business of sports, right. Similar, we are in a similar space with the esports ecosystem. As Trupti, you correctly mentioned, right? There's different teams that are required for different aspects of the business, right? If you are looking at a broadcaster, there's a different team, right? If you're looking at the management or financial sides of it, they don't need to understand gaming, but it's always good to have that passion to know what you are actually working on. That drives you, I believe. So yeah, there is a skill gap, but with advent or interest peaking throughout the ecosystem, I'm sure in the next couple of years or so, we'll have more professionals who will come up through various, again, college events and, the entire grassroots ecosystem being activated.
So are traditional degrees enough to get hired in this industry?
Again, it depends on role to role, right? If it's a business role or a sales role, I'm sure, if someone has done a business study, would be able to take up that role and excel in it. You just need to know numbers. You need to know how to convince people that this is the space where you want to be. So it depends role to role. It's entirely subjective.
Understood. So, I mean, publishers is not in the panel name, but we'd like to touch upon publishers next because they are a huge part of the ecosystem. Rohit, I'd like to start with you. Right now, you operate in a lot of games. What makes a publisher good for esports, essentially, would be my question for you.
I think any publisher that makes their game investable, I think, is a very good publisher.
What do you mean by investable?
I mean, the Matrix. I mean, I think, I think everyone sitting in this room would agree. Like, Krafton is the best publisher. I mean, everyone have their drawbacks, setbacks, but I think the ecosystem what they've built for BGMI here in India, it's made BGMI the most investable esport, at least for the larger esports teams. I think in the West, if you see, Valve is a great publisher. I mean, I think with the skin revenue and everything that is shared for the brands, and then with the teams, and the teams are incentivized to actually make it to the major, to make sure that they get a pool of the skin share. I think a couple of metrics, like obviously the revenue that we make. I think what is their long-term commitment to the game? How are they going to increase the shelf life of the game, because every game has a shelf life. And I think apart from that, the viewership metrics, and I think I think mainly the viewership metrics, and I think holistically how brands can also invest in their IPs or in their game, and where the whole ecosystem benefits, which basically means the publisher themselves, tournament organizers, teams, and that's the reason why employment also will probably go up in esports. So I think, yeah.
So Shiva, publishers. I mean, Rohit talked about Valve. Is that model better, like an open set of guidelines which Valve has, which you have to comply to when you're doing tournaments, or a more restricted one, where it is more controlled, but the ecosystem is more divided between collegiate, national, and international level?
See, for a, if Rohit is sitting me, I am sitting here, brands, every publishers are important, right? So publishers plays vital role in esports. Without publishing, there is no esports actually. So when you talk about the controlled or uncontrolled, like Krafton or like any publishers, certain publishers, it is more like a controlled ecosystem. But if you see Valve, it's not a control, but still that game Counter Strike or Dota, it's still growing, and IP builder like Skyesports, we love to work with the uncontrolled publishing things. Like we are happy to host Counter Strike. We just need to follow the guidelines. So Valve used to put the guidelines on their channel. We need to respect. We need to follow the guidelines. That's it. We don't even need to get the permission or nothing. So if we are following the guidelines, it will become under the rank thing, and then we can go for an invitation, everything. But and control ecosystem also is not bad, because when you control the ecosystem, like you have the sustainable ecosystem, like Rohit mentioned Krafton is such a Krafton is setting a benchmark in India right now, how to publish a game, such a country, billions of people are living here. So they have proper ecosystem for the player base and the clubs and indie game developers. Everything, they are properly functioning and build the whole system. They are not just left with anything. So for me, both are important in respective manners.
So right now in India, what would you say would be the right model? India, I mean, is a very diversified country.
See, whatever publishers are, it's all for some time only, I can say, because the moment like when it is coming under the multi-sports events like Asian Games or Olympics or Commonwealth Games, it will be go in that direction. So right now, okay, publisher are building the IPs, Sky Sports building the IPs. We are making the clubs to participate, generating revenue. But the moment Asian Games or like Olympics coming to the picture, things will change. So always the uncontrollable ecosystem will help the ecosystem to grow bigger.
So, and Trupti, from the publisher side, I think what you can help us understand is the technology part of it, which you need to integrate into your platforms. How important is that, securing those APIs, and how can the publisher essentially do better to recognize platforms like yours?
Sure. So for publishers, I think the whole esports started just to increase the duration spent on the game, right? And most of the brands as well as games, esports was more of an experiential marketing activity. We want the players to experience our game. We want them to spend more time so that they compete with each other. And then, yeah, of course, the prizes, goodies, and community events and all these started accordingly. So as Shiva mentioned, there are two ways to look at it. One is the controlled and another one is not controlled one. He is doing the CSGO, so I assume he likes the one which is not controlled.
Actually, both, you're doing CS and agent.
Okay. But I've seen his affinity more to, I've seen a lot of tournaments which are towards CS. So Valve, as a publisher, if I were a publisher, I would be happy if somebody is able to, host a tournament around my game. We met a lot of publishers where they say, hey Trupti, this is our game, we are going to pivot into esports. We would just love to, understand your perspective about it. Do you think this will work? Then again, the whole intention behind or the underlying principle behind is, I want to increase the engagement on my game. I want to increase, and it's applicable throughout, right? Entertainment or any sport industry or a spectator sport. The longer duration somebody watches XYZ, that is what monetizes better, right? So for publishers, I think having a set format, kindly follow these rules and regulations and go ahead and do your community events and do your esports would be a better approach. And if they want to have a controlled, structured way, that is again very well and do what Krafton is trying to do in the country. Maybe it is building towards a much larger goals of being friendly with the government, also understanding the India as a culture and trying to blend in and not let even one use it in a different way. I think that is where the control comes into picture. Otherwise, they'll be more than happy for anyone to, take their game and organize tournaments around it.
So I'd like to follow up on that. How important would you say is if a developer is publishing a new game? How important is it for the game to be esports ready from the get-go? As because you mentioned esports as a marketing tool, how important is that?
Sorry, can you repeat?
How important is it for a new game to be esports ready from the get-go as a marketing tool, as a tool for player acquisition?
See, if it has to, first of all, fall under the category of esports, it needs to be highly skilled game, and each and every move of yours need to be counted, like the way it's counted in CS. And I think BGMI also took some time to come under the category of esports. It was earlier called as a competitive game, right? So even when we look at games right now, that level of development is still work in progress, I can say. But definitely, if somebody is able to achieve that kind of accuracy in developing a game where each and every move of yours is not anything related to luck factor, but it's a skill based, then definitely it would be a great game to have. And we are looking at cricket in India, because India is first of all a mobile first country, and then their love for cricket is another religion altogether. So, yeah.
So Gaurav, I'd like to move on to brands. What metrics or indicators are brands currently looking at when they invest into esports?
See, before I get to that, right, and this is a very interesting part of it. Gaming, how we have seen its scale in India, right? It has, we have always considered very basic metrics to be looked at, right? Like, say, peak CCV or views in a live stream, right? But now, being on the side where we see how brands evaluate traditional media, right? I believe that we need to look at different measurement metrics, have third-party evaluations of, if a brand is associating with a certain project, how exactly is that project impacting that brand? Is it affecting its brand awareness? Is there some consideration that's increasing for the brand, right? So more than basic numbers that we find on a YouTube live stream or a Instagram view thread, right? I think we need to deep dive into how is that IP or that category of investment helping the brand grow its market share. Because as a gamer, right, and I'll just take a minute more on this, because as a gamer, if you are getting exposed to a same brand advertisement through various different modules, right? You get you see it on a TV screen, you see it on the digital space, right? But there has been no separation of how this particular project is actually helping you, which if we look at a TV measurement or if we look at a digital measurement, we get to know how a campaign has performed. Similar measurement should come in picture, and as WPP, we are also speaking to partners like Kanta, Nielsen, and many others to figure out how we can actually track those measurements in a dynamically moving platform, right? Yeah.
So is there anything that TOs or teams could essentially do better to make their IPs more brand friendly right now in India?
Yeah. So again, like measurement is something that has to come in, right? When we get proposals from different TOs, what we get to see is there's a lot of we have 50 million impressions, we have 30 million reach. What is the base of that? We really need to understand if we can track it, right? Just I'll give a small example. If there's a live stream of 3 hours and my brand is getting integrated, say for 10 seconds every 15 minutes, right? I do not know what my reach is on YouTube for that particular moment when my brand is getting integrated, right? As a brand, I would like to know that, which I am able to track on other digital mediums. So, certain modifications on platform ends, not only on TO's front or, organizers front, but as an entire ecosystem, if you can move in that direction where it is third party verified and, there's actual numbers that we can denote to the amounts invested, I think that will be a great move. And I am happy to, tell you a lot of our partners are actually moving in that direction to understand that this is important in this ecosystem if there needs to be regular business with brands.
Thank you so much for that answer. So yeah, we have future of esports left. We're running out of time. So I'll just go quickly around that. What do you think are the trends to look out within Indian esports in the next, say, 5 years?
I don't know. I just hope there's more esportable titles that come into the scene. I am very excited about Mobile Legends. I think it's kind of picking up over here. But apart from that, yeah, I think Esports World Cup was a great IP, and I think the whole roadmap to it to become a partner team and everything is also very interesting. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it. And I think if the whole ecosystem grows holistically, we all see that, there's going to be a very big spike in revenue for teams, and, it'll become a more sustainable business for all of us.
Shiva, from you, governments, publishers, what can we expect over the next 5 years?
I mean, like right now, Tamil Nadu is investing in Chennai Esports Global Championship and IP like IGDC, and we are expecting other state governments also to be involved. So hopefully, we might work with the Kannada government very soon. Similar to CGC, we are building a new IP, and that has to be like supported by government, and then we are working with the different states also. So hopefully in next to 1 year 2026 we might execute similar to CGC 3 to 4 IPs. On top of that, our most priority is Asian Games. So we want to make Indian representation, and we want makes our athletes to get the medal. So when it happen, everything will change. On top of that, we are working very hardly to bring more publishers. Like Rohit mentioned, Mobile Legends, similar to that, we should not stick with 3 4 titles, but we have to build more esports titles in India.
Trupti, outlook for the next few years?
Yeah, so coming from Geo, I can say that more esports is accessible to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and that is where we can see this entire sport being a sustainable sport, right? And we as Geo, we understand the youth right now because we are connecting millions of youth through maybe mobility plans. We have also come up with gaming plans, and we are also connecting through the fiber where people can play. And if tournament organizers, government, and brands like us who are connecting people come together, it will enable a lot of such players to, come forward and actually this not just towards 1 or 2 events, but to develop this whole ecosystem as a whole. And that is what is going to bring that longevity in this industry's sustainable and monetization and growth in all aspects.
Gaurav, last with you. Obviously, you spoke about kind of educating TOs and all in terms of better data sharing and tracking. Where do you see that going over the next 5 years, and what caliber of brands will that be able to attract?
See, the idea is to not only look at endemic brands, but also the non-endemic category where there's an audience overlap, right? May it be the beauty category or may it be the automobile category, right? With measurement and commerce, gaming commerce coming into the play, where there's a lot of sessions that's going on gaming commerce, right? With all these factors coming into play, esports is going in a direction where it will have a merger of culture, fandom, and it won't just be a separate sector, but it will be a mixture of different audiences coming together of those 590 million odd gamers that are out there in the market, right? So yeah, I think that's how it's going to scale up.
Thank you. I think that is our time. Is there any questions that people might have? Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much. That was for me, my first masterclass in esports. I have a lot of interest in esports education, but I've never been a gamer. I'm a sports scientist. I do high performance. I work with Olympians, F1 drivers on their, mind game. If they have, when they transfer their skills from training to podium, that's what I do. I've worked with a couple of esports athletes in 2015, 2016, and now that it's regulated by the governments and it's getting the respect it deserves, that's where my interest is. And I very strongly believe gaming gives mental health than takes it away. Because as a psychologist, I've seen how it has been an amazing latch on, a best friend. It has saved many people from ending their lives, you see. And also it's like chess, esports or gaming is one of the few activities that require you to use most part of your brains. So the brain development is also holistic and use of it, right? So I had a few thoughts that came to my head when I heard every word you guys said. So I thought I'd share it and take your opinion on it. Are you okay with that? So I'll read it from my notes. There's quite a few of them. Now, I agree with you that parents are the stakeholders throughout the world, actually. Good parents will worry about the future of their children, and education is important. So if parents see a good resultant in terms of a career, then I think they'll be the first people to encourage their children to game and get into esports. So I very strongly believe that along with esports training, if there's esports education as well, that is giving them ideas about, like one of you correctly mentioned, how is an esports game built? What are the probable career choices that you can have or entrepreneurial options you have? Then I think they do very well in their training because they're confident that they're also building a career and knowledge and education with it. So I think one of the ways we can win parents is by having the parents encourage their children to do that. And to that extent, rather than getting pissed off with them, if we can understand their concern, empathize with them, and then build education right from primary school level, that would be good. So you guys talked about esports in colleges. For me, I'm the director of sports education in one of the sports MBAs. If I were to include a special module or a very dedicated module on esports, where the sports law, sports sociology, event management, sports business, sports science, medicine, leadership, all that is included, like a sports MBA, then I think esports will also get the kind of mainstream respect it deserves. Because building a culture, like you all correctly said, is required, but we need to start somewhere. So while we are focusing on the colleges to encourage individuals to partake in gaming for sports, I think we also need to build educated personnel, the support staff, to build the ecosystem, because very soon, I think in the next 5-10 years, we'll have a lot of esports athletes and gamers, but we might not have the, not just the infrastructure, but the system to support it. This is a problem we saw with a lot of sports in India. So I've worked with several countries, and my frustration each time I went to an Olympics was that we had a lot of talent, but because there were no processes to build that talent, it never saw the light of the day. And we lost a lot of talent even before they realized their full potential. So that could be something we can avoid for esports. For that, I think at a district level, if there could be academies that are full-fledged sports academies for esports, even if it's a mobile game, but they live in hostels and have a setup where they get sports science, sports medicine support, sports education, and also the training grounds with coaches who have pedagogy of how to teach. They might be very good at what they do, but they need to also transfer that capability to the athletes and also look at the long-term athlete development. So I thought if esports could get that respect and that focus, then a lot can happen. I have tons more, but I don't want to take away time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great, everything that you mentioned, because before the video gaming, I was into the sports industry myself. I used to work on national and international cricket series, and I have seen the process that they follow versus what process we follow. But nonetheless, now the interest of esports has increased so much in these colleges, is most of the colleges have esports clubs. And in these esports clubs, there are already these trainings which are happening. And in hostels, most of the nights, it is a gaming night. So I think somewhere things have started, as you mentioned, but not as organized and structured like you are expecting it to be. But I'm sure, I think with people like you getting involved, it would definitely get there in very short time.
I'll just like to add something. So again, coming from a sports background, previously have done my MBA in sports management. I have seen that a lot of the sports management degree colleges, right, like an ISM, NASM, and a couple of others, they have started their gaming courses now, most probably from this year or from the next. So I absolutely agree with you that a corrected curriculum for as a management or as a professional in this ecosystem is very much required to support the growth of the athletes that are already there, which others, like in our time, sports did not have that support pillar to support the athletes that were growing. Yeah.
You have one more question?
So, hi, I was looking forward to this talk, and I have a two-part question. Since you guys are the lead runners of the esports infrastructure, and this entire thing was about esports infrastructure in India, what, according to you guys, is the one thing that has been stopping India from producing something like an IEM Cologne of its own, or like a VCT Masters of its own? Or do publishers look at the market as if they have the potential to host that event in the particular country? And the second part being, because esports is a very community driven, if the fans are not there, the esports is basically null. And if the models of the industry or the scouts of the industry, they pull thousands of viewers online, would it be more beneficial to get them together in a stadium, host that entire tournament? Would it bring more viewership and more credibility as a nation, as an esports nation?
Can I answer that? I actually have a very good point because I've been working on this recently. See, what drives viewership and attendance in esports is, and I'm sure you guys would agree, is the stardom and the community and the fan following of the teams, particularly around 8 to 10 teams. What I believe, and I've seen this happening with very particular events, is when there's a mixture of culture, right? Not just gaming, when there's a mixture of gaming with music, or gaming with food, or gaming with fashion, right? There's a different sector of audience that also comes together, and they get inspired to be part of this ecosystem too, like gaming anime, like something like a gaming hub or comic con. I think that is the space that, as TOs, I'm sure they're also looking at, where they can mix those cultures, get more viewership in place, get more attendance, and eventually, given the purchase parity of this crowd is not extremely high, it's going up, right? I'm sure in a couple of years, with the advent of different cultures together, we'll see more footfalls in our events rather than just the fan following of few different clubs. They'll come for the experience.
Anything to add?
I have one final, just a small, from Trupti ma'am. Since Blast has been partnering with Geo Games recently, are we expecting something big like Blast's IP that happened in France this year with the Fortnite event? Does event of that scale can be handled in India, or if there are prospects of that kind of event?
Yeah, I think Blast CEO is right here with us. Uh, and definitely, I think there are major plans. That's the whole intention of the joint venture. And very next month, this month, and there is a launch. So definitely, you all should make it to that.
Imran?
Hello all. So I just had one question to all of the panelists over here. So as you were saying that in sports industry, because from a very young age, everyone is being trained in a proper way. So don't you feel the need that the upcoming generation or the upcoming players, they have to be trained in the proper manner for let it be any game, and also about the industry, because right now all the younger generation players are just seeing that esports is about playing games and getting money out of it, and also becoming a content creator. They are not seeing the other side of the picture. So I just want to understand what are your thoughts on it.
What is the other side of the picture?
So as in, like, they're not trying to see if there are opportunities in the esports management side, or in a team, organizing a team or managing a team, somewhere like that. All of them are just focusing on becoming a player or a content creator, because those are the two most popular things in the esports industry right now.
Okay. So I was handling Team Signify. I don't know, it's one of the most popular CS and Dota team. And we had 3 players from Philippines and rest of 3 more players from India that we nurtured. We had a boot camp, their training, and becoming an athlete or an esports athlete is not just about, of course, they had their game time where they had to play for 6 hours, but they had their gym, they had to go for cardio, they had their other mental capability aspects of it built. So it's not really that easy as well to become a pro player, because I have seen them, how they were nurtured for the reason they were the top team in the country. But otherwise also, gamers definitely would love to focus on their gameplay first, and eventually they do pick up the other aspects as well. But it's all about they identifying whether they are a people's person to become a management, or they're somebody who are good at problem solving to become an engineer in that, or aspect, depending on whatever strategic skills they have. I think they will pick it up if they don't really want to be in that pro player scene.
Got it. So just one follow-up question on that. How should I frame it in this way? Rohit sir or Shiva sir, it would be better if you could say it. So as the young talents are coming up and they are learning the game and understanding the game, so don't you feel that proper coaching or proper training for them is much more needed so that they can nurture in a proper way?
Yeah, I think for sure, and you're already doing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100%.
Okay. Thank you.
One last question.
So my question is to Gaurav. Gaurav, WPP works with hundreds of clients, right, from multiple brands. Are you pitching these brands to put esports or gaming as their core, allocation for marketing spends or the budgets that they allocate? And if you're pitching it, what are the contentions that the brands are showing to participate with the esports teams or with the tournaments?
I'll take this up, take this question up not just as esports but gaming overall, right?
Sure.
See, we are looking at brands allocating monies in their regular spends, which we call RNF, into gaming. Now that can be gaming ads, that can be activations, activations, and a lot more, right? When there's one-off events like a CEGC or a Geoblast IP or a Nodwin IP, there are different content routes that we look at, right? The contentions that we see is the cohort in itself is overlapped by many other cohorts. Like there's an anime cohort, right? Or there might be a traveler cohort who are also gaming, right? Our job on the other side of the table, where we are actually getting the brands involved in this, is to make them understand how this particular sector has more engagement, right? They have more, like we have proven studies of how they drive more consideration towards the product if done in a very particular manner, which is not interfering with their gameplays or their experience in the game, right? So yeah, as per your questions, we are pushing the brands to test out the waters and slowly move into it. And with HUL, as one of my primary clients, we have seen that over the last couple of years, we have not just activated brands which are highly focused into the gaming TG, but we have also worked with brands like Reen, Surf, Wheel, right, where we have got housewives to play games, right, through the gaming networks. And that's the biggest unlock that I feel that agencies like us can do in the market, where we not only look into the audience of esports, but the overall audience of 590 million odd gamers that we have.
Right, but when we see that boost for Skyesports and Mahindra coming on board as esports partners, right? aren't they also looking at performance metrics, or they are looking for a brand building? What exactly are they looking at when they sponsor such events?
See, they are looking at, that's what, right? What I was telling before also. We do not have a very structured measurement system of how brands evaluate such associations, right? That is where, studies with Kantar or a Nielsen or other such agencies will come into place. For now, this is more about building awareness. Boost is not coming with its mother brand. They're coming with a newer category called Boost Protein. And it's, as you mentioned very correctly, it does put a lot of stress to a gamer's life when, the game throughout the night, the grind, right? That is where the brand comes in. They're trying to place themselves as a supporter in that entire journey. For now, we do not have the correct measurement metrics available in the market to understand how this builds the brand over time, because the investments have not been done over time. It's just the start. Maybe, if it's a continued investment for next 5 to 6 months, we will see how this has actually impacted the brand points or brand score across a certain market.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.